In this section, we'll try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival and other festivals, things we recommend and things to avoid. This time, 2022 festivals. All about next year. Let's run through some of the other festival ticket prices for next year because, I think it's fair to say that we're curious. We're festival curious about other metal festivals, because there's a lot of newer ones, a lot of smaller ones that perhaps we haven't been to, and we hear about them, and we're interested, and we want to know what they might be like. Now, the price does vary wildly. As we've already said in the news, Download is pretty much the most expensive festival that you can pay for. Although you get a lot of money. Whilst we can look at the price and be negative about the price, obviously there is a lot involved in Download. But the issue that I have is that it's more expensive, currently more expensive than what Glastonbury was last sold at. Glastonbury was the tickets that went on sale for Glastonbury 2020 were £265. That always sells out. That's a 200,000 person capacity festival with over 100 different stages, big and small. There's so much going on that I think £265 justifies what happens at Glastonbury. I mean, they've had bands like Gojira, Venom Prison, in one section of Glastonbury. Performing. I mean, Glastonbury's like it's like a festival town, the size of it. So, I mean, that price to me justifies going to Glastonbury. And this is why I keep thinking, I'm hoping that Download have got something up their sleeve, not to the size of Glastonbury, but hopefully they've got something up their sleeve to justify the new price.
Oh yeah.
But again, we'll have to wait and see to see if anything happens with that.
The thing is that you've got to remember the capacity for Glastonbury is huge. It's so big.
It's double Download. Download's capacity is 100,000 people, and it's double that. And there is just so much going on at Glastonbury. Now, I'm saying this as someone who's never been. Obviously, I have friends who have been, and they told me their experiences. If you look into Glastonbury, you can see obviously just the amount of stuff that goes on. And I think the price justifies it. But you've got to be in it to win it, sort of type thing with Glastonbury. You've got to be on their mailing list. You've got to get onto you've got to put a deposit down on your ticket before you actually are able to buy it, because they sell out instantly. The second they go on sale, hundreds of thousands, even 200,000 of people will snap their tickets up. They're like gold dust.
The same can't be said of Download, which doesn't sell out every year.
No, Download hasn't sold out since 2012. Which again, I don't like sounding negative about Download because we love the festival, and hence why we've been every year. This is just a bit of a shock to the system, I think, that the price has increased by what it has without giving us any sort of...
Well, no one likes paying more for something that they were paying less for last time.
Yeah, especially when, like you said quite quickly, was that we've not been told if there's anything new is happening to justify the price increase. So again, I say this, hopefully that something is going to be announced that justifies the increase.
Yeah, so it's half. Download is half the capacity of Glastonbury and doesn't sell out every year. So yeah, you'd hope that Live Nation, who owns and runs Download, has got something very interesting up their sleeve. I mean, we can only speculate at this point, but who knows? Now, Reading and Leeds are two festivals which are probably next biggest, aren't they?
Yeah, they sell out. They've sold out a few times the last few years as well. At a price of £235, which again, there is a lot. Their capacity is a little bit bigger than Download. There is a lot more going on at these festivals. To justify the £235, I think it does. You won't catch me there.
I couldn't think of anything worse than to go to Reading Festival, unfortunately. If it's not the lineup, because the lineup is quite varied. The lineup is there's a lot of variation in the lineup. It's just the horror stories you hear about the people, the type of people that you go. Yeah, the horror stories of the type of people that go there. You just don't want to be involved with them or be anywhere near them.
Right.
This year was bad. This year was bad enough.
There are some amazing acts that they managed to book, Reading and Leeds. I mean, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
I mean, big names, like proper world-class acts.
I think the worst thing for me is some of the acts that they do announce for Reading and Leeds, I think would be so much better at download. Yeah. But obviously, because Live Nation owns them both, they sort of won't do the crossover, or if they do, it's the smaller bands that play both.
It's so weird. I can't figure it out in my head as to why they would get those acts and we wouldn't. I mean, is download more niche?
It might be. I mean, or is the download crowd seen as too niche? There's rumours that some bands won't play download because of the niche type of crowd, which is a fucking shame. There was rumours that Bring Me to the Horizon won't play download because of some people's view of them that attend download, which I think is a shame, because I think Bring Me the Horizon would smash it. I mean, we're not that bad, are we, Neil?
Well, we're not. We're all different. We're all different. I mean, it is a very varied crowd at download, and it's not like, you know, let's take me for an example. I don't only like rock and metal. I like all kinds of music. Mm-hmm. I love download because it's a great festival that plays music that I like. But I'm not someone that is going, oh, well, I don't like them and I don't like them. I'm not going to say them, they're rubbish. And I know some people do that, but I'm not. You know, I'm just going for a good time. I'm not. I know people are more discerning than me about metal and rock, and that's fine. But not everybody's like that at download. I know you have got a vastly superior, wide knowledge about metal because you've been into it for a lot longer than I have. Mm-hmm. And even you're not really sort of you're positive about everybody, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't understand the elitism of again somebody else's taste being better than somebody else's. But I think that stems from basically from as a teenager, I was always sort of laughed at for my choice in music, or looked down because of my choice of music, because it wasn't popular. It was at one time, but then when it didn't, when it wasn't popular, the people that sort of like make fun of you for that type of music, which is a shame. And I don't know. I don't like the whole elitist view. You like your thing, I like my thing. We can still get on. Do you know what I mean?
And I wouldn't slag bands off to fuck that I don't like. I mean, I know, you know, I did have a little bit of a go at Tool last episode. But then at the same time, I'm not saying, well, they're shit and that's it. I'm just saying they're not my cup of tea. But it doesn't mean that anybody else who does like them, in my opinion, is completely wrong, because everyone's got their own taste. I mean, unless people in, you know, the position of booking bands or managing bands has this sort of idea that, oh, you can't do that festival because they'll hate you or because somebody said something. I just think it's a load of shit. You know, just go and do your thing, go and perform. You'll get people come and watch you. Of course you will.
Well, we've got Diane Sword as proof, recent proof of that. Now, there was a lot of people, myself included, was very shocked at an act like Diane Sword was being announced for download. Did I go to see them? No. Wasn't my cup of tea. Didn't like them. I'm not going to bother. But they had a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And they were enjoyed by many. And I think the same could be said for the likes of Chase and Status a few years ago. Chase and Status are a great little sort of dance, drum and bass sort of act. And they were very well received. I think am I wrong in thinking that Pendulum have played Download?
That sounds familiar.
Same sort of genre, again, drum and bass sort of type music, but they get a good crowd and they get but they're not your typical metal bands. Oh, fuck me, The Prodigy.
Yeah.
Like, again, they were a very popular act in the 90s and early 2000s, and then when they played Download, they were amazing. I would have loved to have been there. So yeah, to have these sorts of different acts. I've completely forgotten the point.
I think it's weird if you only like one type of music.
Yeah, I agree.
Because everyone's got crossover things they like, and there's different genres that spill out onto other genres. You know, I just think it's wild to think that this band won't fit at this festival.
Mm.
I mean, obviously there's obvious ones that won't, but you know, there's so much crossover in rock, which is what the basic genre is. That covers a huge number of different bands, and I just think if anybody's thinking Download is niche, they've never been.
I agree, and to be honest, and on that's probably the one positive thing I can say about Reading and Leeds is the varying style of music that play at that festival. I'll reiterate, you'll never catch me there, but the lineup is so varied every year. You've got metal acts, you've got alternate acts, but you've also got your Stormzy's and your Lethal Bizzles and stuff like that. The grime sort of scene as well. I think they had Liam Gallagher this year, who's just announced a massive tour as well. If any of our listeners are into Liam Gallagher and Oasis, I'm not, but he has a huge tour coming up.
Oh, they're millionaires. You know, they're wildly popular, but it's not something I would go and watch. There's not enough on for me at Reading and Leeds that I'd think, oh well, you know, this justifies the price. That's all. You know, that's.
Do you reckon that could be because I don't know? Have you ever been?
No, but I've looked at I always look at the lineup, and like Stormzy's not my cup of tea. Like grime stuff, I'm not really interested. It's just, you know, some of the rock bands that they do have on, I like, but then you know, it's a lot of money to pay out just to go and see them. I'd rather just go and see them on their own.
I mean. I again trying to just justify a festival price. If you're looking at just the bands, there's no point. I think there's no point going literally just for say 4 or 5 bands over the whole weekend, because then you're not justifying the price. Again, I was happy
at the Download pilot. On a Sunday, I think you watched St. Agnes and went home because of reasons. But despite how good the quality of bands were on a Sunday, you didn't get to experience it.
No, which I do regret. Again, if circumstances were different, I could have definitely enjoyed it. Again, like you say, there was a lot of bands on that day that were amazing. But I did this in 2019 at the normal Download, where on the Sunday I went home halfway through the day and missed out on Ena Shikari and Tool and Fever 333, like really good, in my opinion, really really good bands. That's on me. I'll hold my hand up to that. I fucked up.
Which is crazy because you live for Download.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, I would. You know, you research all the bands, you look at all your clashes, and
which I've recently been doing again because there's enough bands on there.
Don't come to me with I don't live for Download because I don't believe it.
Maybe it's the music then. Maybe I live for the music.
But for you to go home and miss a day is massive for you. Yeah.
They like I think we said before, it had to be something massive for me to disappear, I suppose you could say.
So £235 for Reading and Leeds is probably worth it, actually, given the number of acts that are on.
Yeah, and I mean there is a lot that goes on. Or again, so I've heard.
Oh, we're talking about the bad things. Yeah, not other features at the festival. We're talking about the shenanigans now.
No. The festival has plenty of other features to justify the price. Obviously, the lineup is varied. There's more stages than Download. Downloading has 4 stages, where I think Reading and Leeds alone has about 6. So obviously with varying genres and different sorts of artists.
See, I was going to say, is Reading and Leeds aimed at a younger crowd?
It seems to have gone that way over the last few years.
But then you look at acts like Liam Gallagher. I mean, he was out he was out in the 90s, so he's not looking out for 18-year-olds, is he? To buy his tunes.
But I think Oasis are one of those bands that if you're absolutely off your face and you know the lyrics to Wonderwall, as I'm pretty certain most of us do, despite not liking Oasis, you're going to love to stand and have a sing-song. Do you know what I mean? I can't stand Oasis's music. I take that back to when I'm being at uni and it was overplayed on the uni nights.
Oh, yeah.
Which again was only about 10 years ago, but it was like 18 to 21-year-olds who, pissed on a night out, were singing at the top of lungs Wonderwall. I didn't like it. I walked home. I walked away. Oh, no, there were several occasions where Oasis came on, I just left the building. I'm that cynical.
I know what you mean. I don't listen to him. I've got some of their... In fact, I've got a couple of their albums and 1 or 2 singles, but I never listen to them. I've acquired them. You know the way you acquire other people's CDs?
I mean, sometimes you might need a coaster, or again, you could use the booklet to wipe your ass with. It's up to you.
I think what got me was the sort of attitude of Liam. And the sort of swagger of the whole outfit, and it just grated against me really, and I just thought there's no need.
No.
And because there were targets for controversy, and when one of them came out saying that they were bigger than Jesus, and everybody got very upset, and get a life, I just can't be bothered.
No, I'm with you. Oh bloody hell! But yeah. He has a tour soon, apparently.
Does he? Isle of Wight Festival, which I'm intrigued by.
They have a very good lineup. Year on year, there's a lot of pop rock. I think they had Manic Street Preachers play a couple of years ago. And I don't mind the Manic Street Preachers, if I was totally honest. Again, I mean, my go-to is usually the metal and all sort of stuff, but that sort of pop rock, the guitar pop music, or it's indie, isn't it? It's not bloody pop rock. Indie music, I can get down to, in all honesty.
I listen to Radio X.
Yeah, I mean, their lineups have always intrigued me as well. And I mean, £195 for, I think, again, the same sort of time frame as Download. It's not bad. You do get some decent acts that do turn up.
The Manics, just to make a small point about them, they were another band that were massively overplayed in the 90s to the point where I was irritated every time I heard them. But now I can listen to them quite happily and actually enjoy it. It's weird what time
it's because they're not played as much.
Yeah,
and I totally get that. Like, I mean, I feel the likes of Oasis have been, in my opinion, overplayed constantly for the last 25, 30 years. Whereas someone like the Manic Street Preachers, they did their bit in the late 90s, 2000s. They did their bit, and then they went away a bit. So when you hear them they have put music out since then. Obviously, I'm not saying they've disappeared. But when you do hear one of their old classic tracks on the radio, you just think, I remember this one. This is a banger. But you might not have liked it when it came out.
I'm looking at the Isle of Wight Festival lineup poster. Tickets for that are $195, according to our latest post on Festipod Instagram. Friday, you've got Lewis Capaldi, Lionel Richie, Nile Rodgers and Chic, who I've just watched recently. I like Lionel Richie, but I wouldn't necessarily go and watch him.
I'm the same with Lewis Capaldi. I think Lewis Capaldi's got more. It's more banter about him than say I enjoy his music. I think as a person he's actually hilarious. But would I sit down and listen to one of his records? No, because it'd probably either put me to sleep or make me cry. We don't want that.
Saturday, you've got Kasabian Pete Tong playing his Ibiza classics with his orchestra, which I think I've been to a version of that. I don't think I've been to a Pete Tong one. I think it went to a Hacienda one in Manchester where they were playing all the just the sort of 90s dance tunes played by an orchestra. It's quite good, actually. Blossoms as well. So we're talking indie, really. Sunday, we've got Muse, who have played Download before. Yeah, absolutely. But then supporting Muse, we've got Rudimental and Tom Grennan.
Muse are playing Isle of Wight next year. I did not realise that.
That's what it says here.
I've dropped the ball big time because again, we go back to the conversation about bands that quote unquote shouldn't play Download, which was bollocks because Muse got a lot of flack for being announced for Download by certain people on the forums and that. But in my mind, they are a heavy rock act that should always play Muse, always play Download. I don't know why they haven't played Download since 2015.
Yeah, I'd watch them, absolutely.
If you've watched them live, they are incredible.
I'm sad that I missed them the year that they did play.
Yeah, well, go to the Isle of Wight Festival. It's only £195.
Yeah, but then there's so much that I'm like. Craig David is on. I'm not. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, you don't think you could get down to Craig David?
This is the same old things we've been talking about. He's one of them that was absolutely overplayed.
Yep.
In the early 2000s, to the point where I'd just switch it off because I've had enough. There was even a point where I bumped into him at Manchester Airport. I was going on a holiday and with two friends, and they wanted a photograph with him, and I didn't.
Did you take the photograph? Then he sort of said, "Sorry, do you want a photograph as well?" We went, "No, thanks." Just walked away.
That would have been a nice story, but no. What happened was. We were going into the airport from the car park into the lift to go into the terminal. And he walked up to the lift and saw that there was people in there and didn't get in. The doors shut and we moved. And I clocked instantly who it was. And there's me going, Craig David, like that Bo Selector, doing that sort of volume in the lift. Because he's gone now. I can take the piss as much as I like. But then what happens is the lift, for some reason, goes back down again. The doors open, and there he is. And he gets in with his manager or whoever, I don't know, some bloke.
Do you reckon he heard you?
Yeah. Yeah, of course he did. Them lifts are not soundproof. So there's me fucking mortified.
He's heard you come back for revenge or something. It's like, who said it?
I'm just facing the other way. I'm facing the other way. And he gets in and we go into the terminal together. He walks off and I'm still mortified because apparently he hates that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's from Bo Selector, a Channel 4 comedy show in the early 2000s where Lee Francis, who now plays Keith Lemon, used to put on rubber masks and impersonate celebrities. They used to do this impression of Craig David going, Craig David, come here, cuz. And all of that. And that's...
Fucking hell, do you know what? That's a banging impression. I think it might be your accent. Your northern twang.
So there's my experience of meeting him. But yeah, I don't want to see him on stage. No thanks. But you've also got Shaggy there, another 90s star, Happy Mondays, Mavis Staples, who I'm not aware of, UB40 featuring Ali Campbell. Wow.
Fuck me. UB40, that's an... Fuck me, they're older than you and I combined, Neil.
I'm surprised you know who UB40 is. You've got the...
Oh no, my parents loved them.
Parents love them.
And again, like red wine. You've heard it like 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
absolutely. I do actually think that this Isle of Wight festival is geared towards older sort of people, because you've got obviously Lionel Richie, Nile Rodgers, you've got Pete Tong, who arguably was famous in the 90s as well. I've worked at a Pete Tong gig. Do you know when it was? It was at a festival. It was at Creamfields.
Oh, bloody hell. You worked at Creamfields?
Yeah.
But that was fun.
No, it absolutely wasn't. I did. This is back in the days when you could work a 24-hour shift and nobody batted an eyelid.
Oh.
So I did a 24-hour shift in the trance tent, which by the end of it, it's possible to listen to 24 hours of trance because I did it. And my head was mashed at the end of it. Pete Tong was in there playing his tunes. I must have been about 18, I don't know, long time ago. But yeah, hated every second of it. And anyway, there's lots I could say about Creamfields. Suffice to say, I don't like the festival. So yeah, Isle of Wight Festival it looks fairly harmless, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of bands on for 195 quid. It's on in June, that one, just before download. Or just after download, I think. 16th to the 19th. Yep. And then you've got Bloodstock for 152 quid for a standard ticket.
Yep, that's my one. Right, off I go. Again, it's a 20,000 capacity festival. Obviously, you've got your big main stage. Two smaller stages. One hosts all what is called the New Blood stage. So that's all your unsigned bands that have come through the Battle of the Bands program, which is called Metal to the Masses, which plays all over the country. And your Sophie Lancaster stage, which that houses some of the bands that would probably do the Dogtooth stage at the smaller stage.
The Dogtooth stage.
It's one of my favourite stages. Out of all four,
yeah.
out of all four, that has some absolutely cracking bands play, and they've actually, I may have mentioned this in previous podcasts, they've actually extended the capacity for that tent because in 2019 there were a lot of complaints about not being able to get in to see 12-Foot Ninja and Ginger. That rhymes. So the Dogtooth stage is getting bigger and the acts in there are getting better. But Bloodstock, again, it's a 4-day festival. It was 5 days this year because they thought they wanted to add an extra day for us not being able to go last year, which was nice of them. But it's a 4-day festival, and the VIP option, if you wanted to pitch your own tent, the VIP is £300, which is only a little bit more than doing your standard ticket at download. And after having experienced it and doing it myself, I'd recommend doing the VIP. The biggest draw in for me was the VIP tent that had 50 different ciders and beers all lined up in their kegs, easy to pour, and it blew my mind just seeing it. It's like a massive row of these kegs and casks. That was a big draw in for me.
I know you say that, but in my mind, all of that is like craft beer. And it's flat, and it's like
no, it's not no. Okay, so we're going on. Right, you open up a can of worms now. Craft beer and real ale are totally different. It's the real ale that the Bloodstock do, not the crafts.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, wind your neck in. Yeah, it's it's real ales.
I just hate paying for a pint that's awful. That's all, because that's happened. Do you remember we went in Donington? We went into that little pub, and we had some. I don't know what it was, some local cider or something, and it was flat and it was crap. And I thought, why the fuck have I bought this? And I had to finish it because the landlord was looking at me.
So flat cider is usually scrumpy, which is usually quite strong, and you're not supposed to nail it, although you can because it's still. And that's how people get really, really pissed on scrumpies because it's just basically fucking apple juice.
I don't think I ordered scrumpy. It was something else. Bloodstock is highly recommended by you. There's a fair few bands on. They're all good, and the VIP options are nice. So how much are you paying for VIP if you're not paying the 152 for a standard ticket?
You're paying £300.
So basically double.
Yeah, so yes, it's basically double. It's not just the beer tent that drew me in. You literally rub shoulders with some of the acts. I spoke to and I met the band members from Raised by Owls this year, which I think I mentioned on the last podcast.
Do you meet quite a few drummers there, do you?
It was the drummer I was speaking to, as it happens.
I'm not surprised.
Who else to see? So there's a band called Voyager who I'd recommend to anybody to give a listen to. Who they literally sat down next. I think they sat down next to us when we were having our breakfast. So hey. So literally, when I say you're rubbing shoulders in the VIP guest area, you literally are. So if you want to have that sort of experience of meeting your idols, maybe if you want to put it like that, then do it.
I'm always excited when you see bands walking amongst you at Download, like they're just regular punters. I'm quite excited by that because I'm a sad bastard.
No. I saw the lead singer for Bury Tomorrow walk straight past me, and we'd literally just seen him on stage not about an hour before. And it was almost as if like my arm had got up to almost grab him, say, "No, come back." He's gone.
Then we've got 2,000 Trees, next cheapest at 147.
Yes, we've spoken about obviously some of the acts that are playing there. That is a much smaller festival than any of the festivals we've mentioned so far, but they do draw in some big acts next year. Jimmy Eat World, who is a massive pop punk band when I was a teenager. And I imagine that a lot of people would be quite keen to see them. Obviously, we've mentioned Idols, Thrice.
The Amazons, Pup.
Yeah, the Amazons, Pup, Chubby and the Gang. And for £147, I think that's a good, reasonable price, which then links into the next festival we're going to talk about, ArcTanGent, who, again, that's a bit more of... it's more niche towards your prog sort of type metal, hardcore sort of bands.
£130.
£130. As it stands, is £130. That's an early bird price, by the way. But if you want to do 2,000 Trees and ArcTanGent, you can book them together for £250 and go to two festivals. Yeah, and go to two festivals in one summer. £250 for... I think they're both 3-day festivals. One's in July, one's in August. I think that's a fucking banging deal. £250, two festivals. That's cheaper than one download ticket, for Christ's sake.
ArcTanGent, you've got Opeth, Tesseract, Cult of Luna, Mono, Perturbator, Enslaved, Intervals. There's so many bands. There's loads.
The previous lineups the last few years have had some big names that have made their way onto second and main stage at Download. So, I mean, the reason that you go to the smaller festivals is so you can tell your mates in 25 years, I saw them before they got big. And these festivals that we're going from 2000 Trees festivals onwards, like these are the festivals that are going to have those bands that you will be able to say in years to come, I saw them before they were big.
Then you've got Truckfest at £140 on in July, end of July.
This was more up your alley. Well, I mean, they had Royal Blood due to play, didn't they, for this year, but then it got cancelled.
Yeah. That was the only reason that it even caught my attention. I'd never heard of Truckfest before. But yeah, it's a bit more indie, I think, as a festival. Although the Idols are on the lineup, or they were. I can see a picture of them playing here. Let's have a look and see if I can find their lineup for 2020. Oh, I've got the lineup for this year. The Kooks, Royal Blood, Idols, Bombay Bicycle Club, who I don't know, Blossoms. It's Pigeon Detectives. It's quite indie, I would say, as opposed to rock metal. But that's fine as well. I mean, Royal Blood are playing and they're headlining. This is 2021, so that it's happened, and it was sold out actually. So it was very popular. There's a lot of bands here. It's a big lineup of bands. So for £140, I think that's well worth the money. It's just a shame they were sold out. It must be a smaller festival though, in terms of capacity. But despite that, there's so many bands on.
Yeah, you sport for choice. Again, that's what I mean by these smaller festivals. They do throw out these really, really, really good bands that you may not get to see at Download for whatever reason. So yeah, and that's why we're doing the price guide, really, and that's why we were mentioning all these festivals, because there could be bands on there that you may not think that would be at Download that you can go and see for a reasonable price.
A lot less money.
Yeah.
Radar Festival on the bang end of July. That's £110.
This doesn't have any camping. This is just a 3-day festival. I think in the same venue.
Guildford.
Just over that weekend. No camping involved whatsoever. It popped up out of nowhere and had some really good bands in. I think Tesseract were due to play one year, the first year they came on. Vola, who I'm a massive fan of, Danish prog band. If you're interested to have a nose, they were due to play the first year as well that they came about. So whilst there's no camping, it's not like the traditional festivals in that sense. It's definitely worth a look because some of the acts they do have are quite big.
Hacken,
a band that I'm sure has played Download in the past, but yeah.
Hacktivist.
We like Hacktivist. They opened the main stage of Download in 2017. They're really, really enjoyable.
Foxjaw.
I fucking love Foxjaw.
I know you do.
Have I ever mentioned that?
Absolutely. Take a look at Radar Festival. It's on at the end of July next year. There's a lot of, I have to say, it's not a massive festival, which is probably why there isn't any camping, but it looks great. There's a lot of bands on. And that is for Radar, £110, which I think is very good value for money.
Yeah.
Then you've got Teddy
Then
Rocks.
we move on to Teddy Rocks, which spoke quite a bit about earlier and mentioned obviously all their the acts that are playing there. I only mentioned a handful. There is. I'm not sure if it's the full lineup that's been announced, but there is a long lineup that has been announced.
TerraVision. I haven't heard of them since the 90s. Used to love TerraVision.
I think I've heard the name. But I've never really listened to them.
The Fratellis are on at Teddy Rocks. Eagles of Death. I've just spotted the Wurzels.
Of course, yeah, the bloody Wurzels are playing. Nice old country music.
Nice little country music. We have. Sorry, he's just stuttering there. He was trying to say country, but he came out as country. There's a lot.
Nobody would have noticed it if you hadn't said it.
No, nobody would have heard you repeating the word cunt. So with this, there's a lot of bands on Teddy Rocks. So have a look at their lineup. Teddy Rocks Fest is their Insta, and that is on at £105, please, £105. Then we've got TechFest at £95.
This is the one for me that is the most value for money festival. 4-day festival, camping included, and with bands like Ohms, which is spelled OHHMS, Red Method, Sertraline, who are both playing the Body Takeover in a Download next year, In Me, Black Orchid Empire, and Divine Chaos. While some people may have not heard of those bands, they are fantastic. And for £95 to get just those bands alone, it's a bargain. And not to mention, their VIP ticket is £147.
Wow, that's more like it, isn't it?
Exactly. If it wasn't at the end of June, I'd go. But I know I'm going to spunk all my cash at Download. So,
oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking at the lineup here, and they've got what looks like 3 stages. Cool. So then we've got Slam Dunk, also at £95. That's on about the same time as Download, to be honest.
It's the week before in 2022. It's in Leeds on the 3rd of June, and then in Hatfield in the south of England on the 4th. So it's a day festival, one in the north, one in the south, and they have all your pop punk, your metalcore sort of type bands as well. And it's just a day festival, but it's got loads of different stages that you can obviously run around to and obviously do your Clash Find and stuff like that. £100 for a day festival, though. Well, that's getting on Download sort of prices.
Yeah. But I would like to go, funnily enough. It does sound quite good.
Their lineups are always really good, but I think if I'm gonna do that, then there's no point doing Download because the genre of music is very, very similar. So I mean, you could do Slam Dunk the week before Download and have the same music again the week after.
And then you've got Incineration Festival, which I don't know anything about. £75.
This is a very, very, very intriguing one to me. It's a black metal festival. It's 4 different venues in Camden. Yeah, for £75, 4 different venues. I think that's reasonable, especially seeing as one of the headline acts is Emperor, which are a huge, and I mean huge, black metal act from Europe. So I think that is a justifiable price, and it's in May, on the 7th of May next year.
Is that happening at, is it in London, that?
Camden. 4 different venues in Camden, all included in the one price. You literally just be walking all over Camden, listening to black metal, listening to heavy metal.
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Camden's amazing. Have you been?
I don't believe I have, no.
Camden is a really sort of rocky and a sort of metal sort of bar sort of area. It's really, really, really good areas to go to.
Oh.
I wouldn't spend most of my nights there. Obviously, landing at night, a bit scary, but yeah.
And then you've got Damnation Festival at £60. The 5th of November 22, the BEC Arena in Manchester. I do not know where that is. The BEC Arena. No idea.
Must be a new venue. So it's a day festival. That's the 5th of November in 2022. They still haven't done their festival this year, which is on the 6th of November, Leeds University Student Union.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Yep, and they've again their sort of genre again is your more extreme sort of type metal. They've got doom metal, hardcore type bands. So the bands that I recognise, Bosk, Pie Cannon. Is that is this year? Yeah, Pie Cannon. Again, if you look at the poster, you got all black and white names on there, apart from Pie Cannon, which is all in like pink and green and yellow.
Yes, it's like a children's band or something.
Yeah. Winterfella, who I saw at Bloodstock this year, they are a British traditional black metal, traditional black metal in the sense coming from Norway or Finland, but they're British, and they make some really, really good music if you're into your black metal.
Before I say this, I want to apologise for my mind, which conjured this up. I saw the band Urne, URNE, but unfortunately, yeah, when I read that, it came out as urine, and I nearly said that. So I want to apologise for my misjudgment. It is Urne,
not urine. Urne.
Although urine is quite a good name for a black metal band, I think.
I guarantee there's one about. Guarantee it. I guarantee you put into Google urine and then band. I guarantee there is a band called Urine.
That sounds fun. I would go and see that. But they're not on at Damnation, so not this time anyway. So hopefully we've given you some thoughts about different festivals that you might like to consider. If £268 for download is just that little bit too far beyond your budget, there are some alternatives there for you. So don't forget, you can ask us any questions that you've got or give us your viewpoints by sending us a message on social media. Tell us what you were planning on doing for your festivals outside of Download next year. Tell us about one we've missed, or just give us your opinion on what we've said. Just search for FestPod on the socials, or go to festpod.co.uk. Oh dear. festpod.co.uk and click on message.